Welcome, everyone, to Achieving a Better You show. My name is Dr. Esther Malave, or you can call me Dr. Esther for short. For those of you that have been following the show, then you'll recognize this wonderful lady and friend next to me by the name of Susan Drummond. She was the perfect example of patient when I did my episode about hypertension or high blood pressure, and basically empowering you as either a patient or a client in terms of what you can request to get your blood pressure taken at the right time and under the right circumstances. So thank you. You are the ideal patient or client. But anyway, enough about that. I want to talk to you because I think that you have some incredible gifts given to you by God. Susan Drummond is an intuitive medium, and also a Reiki Master, and also masseuse, right?
I was retired in 2020, but for 20 years, yes.
So let's go back, way back. And where were you born? Tell me a little bit about how your upbringing before we get to the good stuff.
So that goes back a number of years, the upbringing. But I was raised in Fairview, a suburb of Camden, in an Italian family that was, I would say, typical. That love was freely given, exchanged. I was the fifth child, so I had two older brothers, two older sisters, then me. So maybe a little bit spoiled, but it was lovely. And it was a beautiful home. We all got along. We all loved each other and were very open about it. And I was very connected with God. Very much so. I went 12 years of Catholic school.
So did I.
I had a beautiful relationship. As a child, I would talk to God and I would hear God answer me. And it was just lovely. Now they would say imaginary friends were angels. And being the fifth child, I was there by myself for a while. So I went to school and I would just play with the angels and really just thought everybody did. But then tragedy struck. So mom got sick, and literally overnight, she had a brain tumor diagnosed and had surgery. And then there were complications. So really, it was literally overnight. We went to visit her in the hospital and everything was good. The next day we went and she was paralyzed and brain damaged. So there were complications during the night. At that point, I'm just 12, just brand new, 12 years old.
So young.
Very young and at a loss because we were buddies, mom and I. And
well,
mom
of course, you were the young one.
Yeah, we had it, and it's funny because my oldest brother, a number of years older, we tell stories and different mom, still loving and all that, but just different experiences, which is common. So to say a state of shock, and my father, he had these children, and it was huge, and it didn't get better. So she was ill for 5 years. She lasted, and we're going back 40 plus years ago. And at the time, nursing homes weren't really care facilities. Yeah. So mom was home the whole time, and again, brain damaged. It was that's horrific. It really was.
Yes.
So as a young child, I would have to. My sister and I, we were closest in age. Would have to come right home from school and relieve the nurse on duty because we would have. My mom was paralyzed; she couldn't walk.
Yeah, so you had to help with all the things, the essentials of life.
Yeah, and for a 12-year-old who, even got away without making her bed once in a while, it was a shock. And
sure.
So you can imagine how it was. So during that time, how could there be a God? Right, there couldn't be. So I completely
alienated and shut the door.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, actually, you're not the only one, and you were a child, but there are many people, many viewers who are watching this who can relate because they've been diagnosed with cancer,
Yes.
or they've had a lot of tragedy or unjust things happen, as we know from what's been going on with the world lately. And so many people ask or complain, well, there's no God. How could there be? How could there be?
Exactly.
And so they've shut the door on God. And understandably so.
Right.
Not justifying that I don't believe that it was God's fault.
Oh, no, not now. Now we understand.
But
sure.
At the time, you can understand why someone would react that way.
Yes. And then there was a little added component to where well-meaning relatives, they came and visit. Now, I'm a 12-year-old child, so the world's kind of revolving around me and such, typical.
Absolutely.
But I overheard the relatives say that mom's illness was an atonement, or in my ears, a punishment for someone else's sins. So what's this 12-year-old to do? So I took that on as well. And how do you even attempt to live with that? I had no idea. So there can't be a God. There can't be a God. I'm just going to go. And I went for a number of years to every extreme to not feel, not be present, not because there was other messages going around be strong, don't cry. As they're taking my mother away, she had a grand mal seizure, and the ambulance came, and aunt and uncle came to the house, and I'm 11 at this stage, crying, and that's Susan. So no crying, be strong, be strong. Like what does that? Anyhow, so this is all stuff that I understand now, but as a child,
absolutely
lost.
Overwhelmed and not being able to fully express.
And
because you're told that that's not something that you do.
You don't. You be strong.
I totally disagree with that.
Now we certainly.
Yes, that you can and you should.
You have to.
You have to be able to cry and let it out and scream and holler and do whatever it is to be able to vent. Obviously, not being cruel to anybody else in the process of doing it, but you must express those feelings.
If not, we tuck it in there we get.
You just answered exactly. And then as a physician, I see it time and time again because people internalize it. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I hear that so often. I'm like, no, please do not say that, because you're not fine and you're just internalizing all of that. And there's going to be repercussions physically, spiritually, that's where a lot of the illnesses come forward. So it's very important to express and not to keep things bottled up, obviously respectfully, and
absolutely.
Not in a cruel way.
Yes, so many healthy ways to express all sorts of emotions that through those traumas. I feel we have
100%.
Absolutely. These ways. So that was a young little girl, and Dad, God love, did his absolute best. But I certainly now understand his overwhelmed.
I was going to say overwhelmed with 5 children, and his partner and soulmate is gone.
Exactly, and they truly were soulmates and loved each other, and it was a beautiful thing to see. So here we go now. Now I'm trying to find my way with no God, and really tried my best to not feel, certainly not cry, let you in.
Can't do that.
I'm just going to do my thing, and it got dark during those years. It really did. Mom passed when I was 16, and I think at that point I was just numb.
Because of the 5-year span of you having to see this woman that you loved and idolized, and she cared, and you were like bosom buddies. So now you're the caretaker, along with, you said, your sister, correct?
All of us did. But it was
my
sister and I had to come right home from school, be there till Dad got home.
Yes, so that's a lot for a little girl.
It was, but I learned my unhealthy tools, just clothes off and just get through. Then when mom did pass, it just felt numb for a number of years. I'm going to say probably about 4 years until my early 20s,
Okay.
where I feel I had my first spiritual reawakening. And it was in a place of darkness, really just, why am I here? There's no reason to be here. And I saw someone praying, and she's down on her knees praying. And I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm praying to God for help." I said, "Well, it's a waste of time." And she said, "Well,
Were they praying in a church, or it was just some
we were
place
just
and
kind of gathered together, and
Okay.
they're praying, and I'm like, and I said, "Well, it's a waste of time. There is no God." She said, "Well, why don't you just try it and borrow mine?"
Oh wow.
I said,
That's a unique way
"Okay."
of putting it. Okay.
So, as cocky as I was at the time, I get on my knees. I say, "All right, God, if you're there, then help." And then, Dr. Esther, a miracle. God answered me again. And it was, I had goosebumps. It was immediate. It was intense. And I felt the love and the connection. And my life changed dramatically. Now there was purpose. Now there was this second chance. And I went on, and I'm going to make the best of it. And I finished schooling and wanted to be married, wanted to have children, wanted to have a career, and everything fell in line beautifully. I got a job managing a small engineering firm right here in Cherry Hill, and it was delightful. Our number one client was Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, so that antenna that was on top of World Trade Center in the middle of the night, I was up there taking measurements on the tower that did not have the observation deck. Now would never ever be able to do anything like that. But at the time, could walk right up to that edge. Had these experiences, got to travel, and just life was lovely. Met my husband, had two beautiful children. The little piece in there, though, is very much a perfectionist, very determined now, very over the top sometimes. Had my relationship with God, but I'll run the show sometimes. And then it wasn't until I wanted to have a third child. And it didn't happen. And I wasn't old, and it was the same husband. It just wasn't happening. And because I had children, every month was a huge loss because I knew what a child meant. I knew it was very difficult. So 18 months we tried. And at the time, I'm going to doctors, I'm telling them, test this, test that. And almost 29 years ago, I don't know where I was even getting the information because there was no Google, there was no internet at the time. Doctors were listening, they were testing this, testing that. And then that 18th month, a dear friend of mine said, "Let me do Reiki." And at the time I was like, "Do what?" I had no idea what that was.
Yeah, but a lot of viewers don't know what Reiki is.
I'd love to share that and all the experience. So this friend of mine, though, I loved and trusted her. Mm-hmm. And she shared with me, she said, Reiki is a Japanese word that means universal life force energy. Universal. So it's whatever you believe life force energy to be. The practitioner is a channel for it. It's not the practitioner. As a Reiki master, I am not magic. It's not my energy. I show up to be a channel for life force energy. So my dear friend did Reiki on me, and I got pregnant. She did Reiki. I got pregnant, and it was a miracle to me. And that's how God got my attention a little bit deeper. He's been trying to get my attention my whole life, but this was like, all right, now you've had all these life experiences. We've just given you this physical healing. Come in and be a little bit more relaxed. And then my life completely changed. Now, at the time, my niece and my dad were terminally ill, and I would touch them and sense something. And it was like okay, I need to move forward. My niece's cancer presented very painfully, and I would massage her. I'm Italian. Well, come on, I'm going to touch. I'm going to rub you and massage.
Sure. Yes.
And her pain subsided a bit. So I knew there was something then. It was like an opportunity came, and I said, I'm leaving this career and I'm going to massage. My goal was to intellectually know what was going on with your physical body to help you heal. That was my intention.
Sure. Sure.
So I get there, I touch my first classmate that we had a practice on, and as soon as I touched them, I got their whole life story. And I knew emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally what they needed to heal. And I was like, wow. Oh, okay, this wasn't my goal, but I trust God so much. I was like, okay, this is the path you want me to do. You're certainly going to lead me on it, and I'll follow.
Yeah, it's the intuition. It's that
Okay.
intuitive. It's funny that you mentioned that, because today I was having that thought process about intuition. And when you lead with your head, you're just leading with your ego. And as Wayne Dyer, loved Wayne Dyer, he described the ego as edging God out. Love that. To this day, I still remember ego, edging God out. So when you listen to the ego, you're not really listening to that intuitive sense that's inside, that inner voice or inner knowing that you and I connect with God. God's speaking. And if you shut this part off, and you truly listen to that intuitive sense or that voice inside, it really does show. And I think that part of the reason why I have been successful as a physician and with my previous patients and now clients in this new endeavor that I've been doing is because I do listen to what he is telling me inside about the person that I have in front of me. Like, what am I picking up the same thing? What energies? What are they not saying to me that I need to bring forth by certain questions or that kind of thing? I don't have the touch, but I have that intuitive sense of picking up how I can help this person heal themselves, heal thyself.
Yes, feel this guide.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone's journey. Absolutely.
So I imagine that when you laid the hands on your classmate, that must have been like, what is this?
Exactly. It was a shock. I'm there and I get this whole story. Then through that, hindsight is this beautiful.
Absolutely.
Then all those memories of, being a child and being so
having
connected,
that connection.
It all came back beautifully. And it started to make sense. I do believe when, especially when you are born into this existence as an empath, that you're very familiar with, we have similar stories in such that we have traumas that happen that we're blessed to heal from, no matter what it takes, but that we turn around and we use that to help others 100%. And that's the common thread through all. So as this was all happening, I started to realize that, wow, we'll never understand all the exact reasons we experience these, but a better understanding that. And I was blessed enough to heal from it and move on. So from there, my life completely changed. I knew, and God knew that we got to give her a physical healing to get her attention, because it did. And then I studied for Reiki and became that channel. And I can't tell you if it was 6 months, a year, I don't really know. But Reiki healed my perfectionism. And I didn't even ask for that because I thought it was working for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going along, but God knew, we have to do something about that, or this one's going to explode. So through there, and then I was able to open my small little massage practice. And it was just that. And I opened it up and heard God again, because now we're having those clear conversations again. And I heard God say, we want you to have a wellness center. And 25 years ago, I was like, what is that? I had no idea. There were none. I had no idea. But he described the center as it is today. However, didn't get there right away. And I just asked, could you wait a minute? Because I had the new baby, the other children. Can you wait till the little one's in high school? Because I don't think I could do all this. It's sure your help. And I was like, no problem. Built that practice for 10 years, built whatever needed to be built. And the little one started high school September 3rd. September 5th, we opened the doors to the first center.
That's awesome.
It's beautiful. And that's how God worked. Then shortly, I had a beautiful business partner who's still my dear friend today. We were told, we need you to move on to Main Street because we were tucked a little off, a block off Main Street in Medford.
In Medford, yes.
Still in Medford, 3 places for the past 15 years in Medford. And, we heard God, both of us, you need to be on Main Street. You just need to let people know you're here. So we said, okay. And with that, the place came up. Then we were 2 years later, God said, you need a bigger place. You need to bring in more practitioners. And the two of us at the time, because I'm not always gracious, said to God, I don't want to own a place. I don't want to buy a building. And stopped my feet a little bit, but God's used to me. He's okay with that because then I do my work and I come around to whatever.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it because this, integrative medicine has known me for quite a while.
Yeah.
Because Mom introduced me to you, who
Yeah.
I dearly love and is in heaven. But same thing, it was like God said, you have a bigger calling. You can help more people. And I'm like, no, no. I kept putting the stops, but God's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep giving you signs and signals, and
out of love, and everything's an opportunity. There's never a punishment.
No, and then it gets to the point where it's like, okay, I hear it loud and clear. This is truly where I need to be going.
Yes, because as long as I've always known that you're a healer, not just a physician. Although thank you for being the physician as well, but we know that. So my life progressed. So we're, okay, you want us to have a bigger place, and coincidentally, we don't believe in coincidences,
no, definitely not. Absolutely
the place right next door went up for sale.
Wow.
And it was a short sale. Even with that, I was like, oh, all right, if you really want me to buy. But in the meantime, we were looking at different places. And we had looked at a place up the street on Main Street to buy, because if you really want us to buy, we will. And met the owner, who was a delightful man, still is. And we talked to him. He knew everything we did. He was, I really believe in that. Okay. So we go back. And then we thought, you know what, let's go back to him and see if he'll rent us his place instead of sell it. He believes in what we do. We go back, we have a meeting with him, and he said, I just sold the building. I said, but I really believe in what you do. So find a building, I'll buy it and lease it back to you.
Wow.
And
those are the doors that open.
Oh,
and that's the thing that you have to understand is that God is beyond, and so when he wants you to do something and you are fulfilling on that promise, all of a sudden the doors open, the right connections follow through. And if there is a blockage, then it's because that wasn't meant for you.
Exactly. And I always ask God, be clear with me. I don't do subtle. Be clear, but be gentle, because I don't need to hit my head.
Yeah.
But even when I look at something, I always say this or something better.
Yes.
So here's this offer, right? Where does that go? So we're walking on cloud 9 and we're so excited. And a week goes by and we didn't hear anything. So we go back down, knock, and come on up. And we said, well, we told you, I didn't write anything down. Opens his laptop, types it in. The next day he goes to the building. where does that happen? And that was 10 years ago. And we went through COVID. We went delightful. I call he and his wife angels. They're just earth angels. Just believed in what we did. Do your thing. And the center evolved. So there was an old bed and breakfast, plenty of room for workshops. And through the 10 years, there's almost a workshop every night, which was the original request. I do not teach them all.
Yes.
I kept that bargain. Thank you. That wasn't there. But there were 9 offices, 9 rooms. So we figured the 2 of us and then 7 others.
Sure.
So we start interviewing people, and 2 practitioners said, hey, can we share an office? But, well, we would have never thought of that, but why not? So right now there's 17 practitioners
That's phenomenal.
that work out of not my plan. Again, not my plan. I just stepped back. So then it takes us to, and I was able to do my private practice. 5 years ago, my business partner said, the business part's starting to get, we just celebrated her 80th birthday, by the way. She's a magnificent woman. But 5 years ago, she said, the business part's getting to be a little too much. I just want to hand it over to you. Not, I want to sell you the business. Not, I just want to hand it over.
What a blessing.
She is. She still is. So I said, okay, well, thank you. We did all ourselves for the past 5 years. I did my thing. Of course, God did his thing through me, because everything is, I consult on everything.
Oh, 100%. All day long.
And then it's easier.
Yeah, all day long. I'm constantly talking. When you mentioned about the childhood, I have to tell you a story so that the viewers know a little bit about my background. But when I was 15, I grew up in Catholic school also. And when I was 15, I'll never forget a retreat in the auditorium where we had to visualize. And I visualized, they said we entered an elevator, go up to the top floor, and you fly. And you're flying towards a beach, and someone's approaching you. Meet them and talk to them. And it was Christ at 15. And so that was my first connection. And so I meet Christ on the beach, and we just talk. So between him and God, I'm always talking all day long, thanking him or asking or praying or whatever. But there's that constant communication. And that's why in my office, I have tons of water pictures for that reason, because that's where I connect with them, is through the ocean and just walking and speaking. And so when you mentioned about that childhood connection, it brought back memories. And at 55, I decided 40 years later to get rebaptized in a Christian church and accept Christ again as an adult. And so, yes, I'm constantly talking, in constant communication with them all day long.
All day long. Please, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Same here.
Becomes easier. And the water, the ocean. So my clients are all different faiths, but life force energy is, God will reach you however you want to receive.
Right. And I'm the same way. I will accept and talk all of my patients. I accept them as they are, who they are, and the same thing now as clients.
Yeah.
I don't judge.
Nope.
Who am I to judge?
Meet them where they are.
I'm meeting them where they are. Atheist, Catholic, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I truly do believe that there should be some higher entity that you do uphold to.
We are not the end all be all.
No,
not
at all. So that's definitely, spirituality is definitely one of my essential keys that it's
part of the whole
body and the whole package. Absolutely.
And I often say to those clients that are struggling with, if there is a God, it's way out there. And I say, well, think of it this way. God is the ocean and we're all waves. So we're all a part of, we hold that. We have that, our higher selves, our inner beings, our souls, whatever you want to call it, it's here. If we pause enough, quiet down enough, we can hear and connect. We all can. But we're also taught in this world to just keep achieving, keep going, keep doing. that pause.
Yeah, go, 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 and get into your head and allow the fear or what other people say dictate versus just like you said, that pause, that instance of quiet and
So that
reflection
yes,
so
we
that you
can.
can hear that intuitive voice or what we both call God.
Yes. And it's not necessarily, to be clear, I'm not hearing an external, oh, Susan, go. It's a knowing, it's a in my
Right.
heart. So it doesn't
Exactly.
have to be, oh, I don't sit, a lot of people will say, you know, I don't see colors or I don't see things. No, I don't either.
I don't
Half the
either.
time. It's just that knowing
Mhm.
deep in. So went along, did my thing. The Center Life and Balance is a beautiful entity.
It is
Spirit-based. Thank you. God run. I just kept the doors open. That was my job. But I'm going to say last fall, they just the business side of it started to feel like a little much for me. Turned 60 a year ago, and
you look amazing.
Thank you, thank you. Now we're 61, but you know, started to have a different mindset, and just moved a little bit further away, closer to the ocean, which has been delightful. So the business part was just starting to feel heavy. So I asked God, I said, like, I'm game, you know it, you know, you got me hook, line, and sinker. I will certainly continue. But if you have other ideas for me or for the center, I'm game. So that was last fall. January this year, having coffee with a dear friend, and I was talking to God, and I said, you know, if you're game, I'd like to sell the center. I'd like this, and this. She says, oh, wow. We've been friends a long time. We've worked together. The next morning, she called and left a message. I really need to talk to you. I was like, oh, okay. So, of course, I call her right back. She says, I talked with my husband and I want to buy the center.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
Another jaw drop. And I'm like, whoa, I'm thinking maybe God wants another year out of it. And she said, the vision is there. She knows that it's God's vision. I want to uphold that. She's got a little bit more business savvy than me, which is beautiful. So we did our part, and we're still in the transitions. We're still working shoulder to shoulder. I'm not going anywhere. And the big announcement will be in September. So this is a little peek preview.
That's wonderful.
And it is beautiful. So now it opens me up to a little bit more energy to my private practice. Is there anything more or different you want me to do? Some of the dreams I've had, that I never had time for. So now I have time for. So
that's fantastic.
We're working on those dreams and how to take it and flowing, just flowing.
Yeah, flowing, definitely. Like, I've been a family physician for a long time, working for somebody else. And same thing, God's been telling me you have a bigger purpose in this world. And finally, I decided to take it on. And so, same thing, get those nudges. And when you finally listen,
but we also know it's not fine. It was perfect, divine
timing.
We're
Yes,
quick to
right.
criticize
Yes,
ourselves.
You're right. You're right.
You
Divine
weren't. It
timing.
wasn't.
No,
I always say it's a big puzzle.
I needed to get certain things aligned.
Exactly.
And the way I describe God's workings is like a patchwork, like a quilt,
I say a puzzle.
Yeah, I say the quilt with the patches. What
Yeah,
you see is just that one patch.
Yep.
You don't see all the behind the scenes shifting of people moving here or there, making the right connections to then lay out the beautiful tapestry because you're just focused on that one patch and that one piece.
I agree.
So yes, you're right. It is divine timing. It was meant for me to open my practice in the beginning of July and for me to start making the right connections and be able to serve those people that truly do need my assistance.
Absolutely. And that's my prayer every morning still is, oh, hello, good morning. Show me how I can best serve today. but also serving self, because I had to learn that
Yes.
I have
Yes.
to be as whole as possible in
Yes.
order to be, and then others. And that is the way that I truly do live. And I want to serve the best. And so I was totally open. If you want me to continue in this capacity, gain. If you want me to shift, gain, just let me know. And
yes, because there has to be some type of a balance, and you have to take care. And I needed to learn that God needed to put that in the forefront for me to realize that things had to change in order for me to have that balance. And balance doesn't have to be 50-50.
No.
But it can't be 20-80. And
no,
so
and we were both familiar with that. But part of our experience to again be able to not just from textbook, can't be 20, but from life
from personal
experience.
experience.
Yes, this is what happened when it was that. Exactly.
I can tell you from personal experience what that looks like. So yes, absolutely. That is fantastic. Really looking forward to your news coming up. And I definitely want you back on the show. But in the meantime,
Yes.
tell me if someone a couple things before we get to how to contact you. For those who possibly may feel that inkling, because one of the things that I do and that I profess through the show is that many a times where you start off in life is not exactly where you end up, because you may have a deeper calling that then eventually you start to listen to, or it is divine timing for it to proceed. So, for those out there that may want to get trained in Reiki,
Yes,
and Reiki healing, how would someone go about doing that? And do you offer classes? So, tell us a little bit about that before we find out how someone can reach you.
So I do offer Reiki certification classes. I keep my classes small intentionally. It is an energy. It is a personal experience with Reiki to do self-healing, which is lovely in itself. So I do teach that quite frequently. So as long as I've been a Reiki master, which is 24 years, I offer classes monthly. So there's 3 levels to Reiki. There's the first level that anyone can be. And the only desire is to help yourself or others or your pets or situations. And you never have to go any further from that. And then there's a level 2 where you learn the ritual of sending Reiki to anyone, anywhere. And then level 3 is the master teacher level. So I say it's a funnel. Everybody can be level 1. I wish they were. Some are called to level 2, fewer to that master teacher level.
Sure.
I do teach and certify all 3 levels. Quite often, in fact, someone just reached out to me, and my next level 2 class isn't until September. And she was a little more anxious. I always offer one-on-one trainings because that is part of my call. It is a tool. It is a practical rituals, which I love rituals, to connect, for self-healing, for helping others. It's a way of life now, just delightful. So yes, I do teach classes.
Now, those classes, do they have to be in person?
So for the Reiki classes, yes,
Okay.
there are, because there is what we call an attunement, which opens up energy centers and uses the energy. Well, once not for the attunement, a treatment can be set virtually, but the attunement, I believe, yes, in person.
Okay. And if somebody wants to reach out to you,
yes,
how can they?
So my office is on Main Street in Bedford, 45 South Main Street. My business is NJ Balance. When I first started, long ago, I just wanted balance, but there was a lot of balances. So we went with NJ Balance since I'm here.
Yes,
So
New Jersey.
njbalance.com, 609-923-3154. I am on the internet and stuff like that. But it's either shoot me an email, Susan@njbalance.com. I try to give a really simple phone call, connect through the website. Yeah. And I'm happy to talk. You might have a question. Well, wait, I'm not quite sure about this. So give me a call. We'll set up a time. We'll just chat about it, see if it is right for you.
So one of the things before we leave that we haven't addressed is another component of one of your gifts, which is the intuitive medium.
Yes.
So tell me more about what that's about.
Yes. So as an intuitive medium, what I have, I've been blessed with this, how I feel to connect with your spiritual committee, I call it, which are your deceased loved ones, angels, however you want to look at it. So I'm able to connect with them and then relay beneficial information to you. I'm not a psychic. I don't predict your future. I don't do any of that. But most people come to me in pain, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Grief is huge. Right?
Sure.
And grief never stops. So someone will come to me grieving desperately, wanting, there's regrets, there's questions, and we sit together in sacredness, able to connect with whatever loved one it was, and be able to have those conversations. I'm the middle woman in there, so I'm able
because
to.
You're the
channel.
So the channel.
Yeah.
Yes, the channel.
So I can relay the message and relay yours, and it's all about healing. It's never for the oh wow factor. Everything I do is about helping someone heal. Being and I say that all the time. I've been blessed with being a witness to so many healings in all different ways. And that's what I do with that. And I say to people, it's not that weird. Yes, I talk to dead people, but it's not that weird. We sit and we have a conversation.
Sure.
And they just speak through, and then they'll come back with memories or instances that mean something to you. Don't mean a thing to me, but I repeat them.
Exactly. And when did that start?
So that was I feel way back in the beginning with being able to see and play with these angels and talk to God. And then after when mom passed, not so much, but after I had that spiritual awakening, being able to hear mom again. And then, when I started laying hands on the clients, connecting there. So it came back. I allowed it to reopen.
Sure.
It was always there, born with it.
Right. But you shut all of that
consciously, because we also, I do believe we have free will in this
100%.
lifetime. So
Absolutely.
we can say, nope, not going there, not doing that. But yeah, I shut that all down, but then it all opened beautifully.
Thank you. Well, you're just a beautiful soul, and you have such wonderful gifts that God has gifted you with. And I am really proud to call you my friend. So thank you. Thank you. So as I say at the end of every show, there's always a way of achieving a better version of yourself, no matter what the circumstances. Keep hope and Christ alive. And until next time, take care of you.